Well, this magnet doesn't show its flux lines anywhere near as well as this magnet. Look at that. You only get this stuff at major universities, okay, or at least in houses that have a couple of extra scrub brushes. And so we're going to suggest that from the north end of the magnet we have the positive emission of flux lines, and clearly if it's a north pole we'd expect it to be kind of Christmassy with the red indicator and the green flux lines, right? I'm sure that's the way it works. These lines go out in space, wrap around, and re-enter the magnet at the south pole. So we would call this a positive line pattern, and here the lines are going the other way. We would call that a negative line pattern. So we've now got an illustration of flux lines. If we want to measure a magnetic field, we take a field checker, okay, no expense spared. You can see my field checker. We come in here and measure a magnetic field. Now, did we catch all the flux lines? No, we didn't. You can still see there are green bristles that didn't get into my sensor. The sensor has got an area, and we could only measure the flux lines that went into that area. So consequently, when we measure magnetic field, we are measuring flux lines per area. To get all the flux lines, we would have to do what we did with light when we talked about that. If we want to measure all the light coming out of a light source, we would have to wrap the light in a great big sphere and count all the lines going through the sphere. And so in order to do such a thing, we say that the flux is equal to the magnetic field times the area. A simple rearrangement of that formula. But in the long run, because the whole magnet is going through the coil, all the flux lines go through the coil. And so our formula is going to be stated, change in total flux per time is proportional to the electric effect. And so let's imagine that we've got this. You know, one of the real issues with understanding electricity and magnetism is that it's invisible unless you've got really neat magnets like we do. It's three-dimensional, and there are all these right-hand rules. And so we got to visualize something we can't see in three spaces. Here I've drawn it in two, but that's limited. And with all these if you're writing something down, is your right hand available to figure this out? And it turns out there are a couple of places you just don't have enough right hands. And so we've solved that problem by picking up a couple of extra right hands. And so here we've got our circle. Let's imagine, just as on the board, we bring our magnetic field through it. In this instance, this change in flux over time, and you know, because we can put a sign on flux lines, that change can have a sign. And so as it comes in here, we're increasing the number of positive flux lines. So delta phi delta t would be positive. If I turn this around, these are flux lines heading towards the south pole of the magnet. So in fact, I am bringing in here lines that point the other way. So that would be a negative rate of change. If I start my observation with the magnet already through the coil, if I pull back on this, these are positive flux lines, but I am reducing the number. That would also give me a negative number. And in the same way, if I have my south pole through the coil and I pull it out, I am reducing the number of negative flux lines. Two negatives make a positive. If I reduce my debt, I'm actually improving my finances, right? If I reduce my negative magnetism, I've got a positive change. And so we've got to keep all of that in mind. So how does this work? Well, let's make a hypothesis and follow it through. So remember, this isn't necessarily the outcome. We're reasoning to an outcome. So let's assume that the right-hand rule works. Let's assume that we're bringing the north pole of a magnet into the coil, and that this increasing flux line pattern produces a right-hand rule electric influence. The E field goes this way, and the corresponding current goes that way. That means with the right hand that we are going to get a counterclockwise movement. We know that if we've got the direction of an electric current, a right-hand rule comes in and lets us figure out what kind of magnetism it produces. And so if the current is going this way, here's my counterclockwise movement, my thumb goes that way, my fingers wrap this way. Now I can't do anything, but you know what? More right hands, that's right, okay? You got to get more right hands. And so let's put this right hand here in place, and what's this saying? This is saying that the current going this way is going to produce a field that wraps from the inside out. But the flux lines inside the coil are pointing towards you, viewing towards the camera. Well, that's the direction we were increasing flux lines in the first place. And remember, what did we say? We were suggesting that the change in magnetic field in this direction was producing a current in this direction. Is it possible that that's going to make a magnetism that produces more of that current, that produces more of that magnetism, that produces more of that current? We've solved the energy crisis. I'll bet it doesn't work that way. I'll bet there's a problem with that, because there's no way we can continue to produce energy with no effort. In fact, it turns out that this hypothesis is wrong. So let's for a moment take these hands out of here, and let's try the other hypothesis. And see, this is why it's cool to have spare right hands. All we have to do is turn that hand around. And what did I just do? I suggested that we now point our right thumb opposite to the direction of the change in magnetic flux. And so the flux is increasing towards the camera. We're pointing our thumb away from the camera. That would imply that the electric field and current that get induced are going to be clockwise. If that's the case, we bring in our original right-hand rule, and we put our thumb in the clockwise direction, which tells us that the magnetism we produce comes towards the camera outside the loop, where it doesn't matter. What matters is what's inside the loop. And it wraps around and goes the other way inside the loop. And so the magnet is increasing flux lines towards the camera. The current is fighting those flux lines by producing flux lines going the other way. What does that mean? It means that everything else we knew about physics works. It means that energy is conserved. It means that if I am making an electric current by moving a magnet in a coil, the coil is producing a magnetic field that pushes back on the magnet. I don't get the electric current without providing an effort. Force through distance is energy, mechanical energy being traded for electric energy. And so what we need to do with our equation, and this is important, pay attention as we add this, we need to put, taking away the proportion sign, we're going to put a minus sign in there, and then we get to say equal. And so our induction law, our induction formula, is that induced electric field is negative the time rate of change of magnetic flux. So that minus sign looks trivial in your book. It might look a little confusing. It is one of the cornerstones of physics. We can't get something for nothing.